Okay, hi guys. A very good evening. Today we are going to discuss from today onwards we are going to start the high availability and disaster recovery solutions. So today we are going to cover what is high availability and what is disaster recovery, and we will try to discuss intro about RTO and RPO. And the first technique we are going to discuss log shipping and what is prerequisites and how to configure and how to file over and file back. So all we are going to discuss. So first basic, let me ask one question. What is high availability and what is a disaster recovery? So high availability, see, technically you must and should know about, and day one I have shown you, right? Data centers. Day one, how is data centers? I have shown you, right? You can search Google also. Data center images. Data centers look like. See, when you go for the, when you search in Google also, you will get it data centers, and also already shown you on this kind of images in earlier, right? Do you remember? So this is how our data centers look like, and where it is contains it contains the racks, and each rack contains the servers, and maintaining the each server and individual power supply, and where it is contains racks, and each rack contains the having main common power supply servers, each server having a main power supply and common switches. Yes or no? I'm showing you, right? Day one we have discussed, right, these things. Assume if you are having one application and that application is hosted under one server, why Microsoft, not only Microsoft, all the database management system, and why they came up with high availability and disaster recovery means, in case high availability means within the data center, and within the data center, if something happened to current mission, so how soon you can bring your database to online, and how soon you can bring server to online. Suppose if you are having 1.5 TB database, assume if you are having a data center, okay, assume you are having one data center that is located in USA, and one more data center at India, okay, two data centers here. If you are maintaining one server and one instance and your database running very fine, and suddenly something happened to your SQL, or something happened to your server, or something happened to your database, how soon you can bring your server to online, and how soon you can bring database to online, and how soon you can bring your SQL server to online. From here, high availability concept will start. Our actually meaning means I'm having only one instance which is running once other from long time. If suddenly something happen, and that server is very critical for us, that application very critical, something happen, how soon you can bring my SQL, and how soon you can bring database to, how soon you can bring server to online. That's come to high availability. How soon is the very important point. High availability means creating copy of database instance and server that can be immediately take over that can be immediately take over in case of problem with the main database and main instance and main server, the little downtime or no data loss. That is what high availability. If you are maintaining only one data center, on that data center you are having only one server. If something happened to that server, if something happened to that SQL, and if something happened to your database, if something happened to your network, something happened to your entire data center, sometimes data centers also will be down, right? So in case any possible of the reason, how soon you can bring application to online, and how soon you can bring my SQL server to online, and how soon you can database to online. So that is the what high availability. High availability means creating copy of the database or server or instance. High availability means you can maintain multiple copies of a single database or a single instance or a single server. Okay, you can maintain multiple copies in the one data center. So this is suppose this is my data center. Okay, and it is data center A and B, which is available in USA, and which in the second data center in India. If something happened to this data center, I can bring this data center to online. Otherwise, this data center will be in ideal state. If something happened to the data center, I can bring the data center to online so that everyone access the data. But there may be minimal downtime required. Everyone, I can ask you one. Assume I'm having one database 1.5 TB and my database is corrupted. How soon you can bring this data 1 TB to online? Minimum it will take 2 to 3 hours, right? You need to first download the backup file, then you need to restore, right? It may take 2 to 3 hours time, minimum 1 hour, right? If network is good, minimum 1 hour it will take. So who will accept that 1 hour data loss? No one will accept 1 hour data downtime, right? No application will accept 1 hour downtime. Suppose take your application. If WhatsApp application is 1 hour down means, and if your Flipkart application is down for 1 hour, who will accept, sir? No one will accept, right? How soon you can bring your database to online so that again my application can run, because entire your WhatsApp is relying on the database, right? The database contains users and logins and passwords. Everything will be available. Every data is available in that database only. If the database is down, how soon you can bring that? Nothing but high availability. High availability means you can reduce the downtime with help of high availability. You can reduce the downtime. These all keywords you need to remember. It is very very important. And high availability and disaster recovery and data centers and downtime, no data loss. So these terms you need to remember. So within one server, we can maintain multiple copies and we can maintain multiple copies. So one will be acting as a primary, and one is acting as a secondary. And you can maintain n number of secondaries, but we will discuss one by one technique, and you will come to know what are the differences and what are the challenges you will see with each technique, and what Microsoft has been provided, like log shipping and database mirroring and clusters and always on. Okay, that is what high availability. Now disaster recovery, dr dr means disaster recovery means in case of any primary server or primary data center is down, entire data center means whatever the servers are available in in that data center is completely down, right? Whatever the data centers are available completely down. If entire data is down, data center is the down, what we can do within the data center? If I'm maintaining multiple copies, I mean, if you are maintaining multiple data centers and multiple data centers in different location, I can bring my database to online, right? Server to online, right? And the services to online, right? But in case entire my data center will be down, what will happen? Now again a data loss in that cases. That's why in that cases Microsoft came up with that concept called disaster recovery, DR. It is the data center level. DR is the process intended to take over in the event of disaster at the data center level. Entire data center is down also. If you have one more copy in the DR servers, if something happen, don't confuse. High availability means within the data center, means within the data center you are maintaining multiple data copies and multiple servers and multiple services. And DR means two different centers. You are maintaining same data, I mean same services and same data and same servers. In case happen primary, in case anything happen to primary data center, I can bring my secondary data center to online. Every organization they will maintain the two data centers. One will be primary and one will be secondary. So because you need to maintain nearby, sir. And you know, right, who are working in India, and you know about Chennai floods, and recently, some years back, recently, you know about Kerala floods, right? If your data centers in floods area, if something happen, your data centers is down, right? Then entire your application is down. That is natural. We cannot do anything. Natural, we cannot stop. So that is how we are going to think in a real world. So if you are having only one data center, if that data center is down, what will happen? DR means is a progress intended to take the event of the data center at the data center level for any reason. If a data center fails to operate due to any of the natural or human mistakes, then immediately switch the business should happen to the other planned data center. But there may be bandwidth. You need to see the network also. Assume your entire application is working on USA. Mostly we never configure primary in USA and secondary in India. Okay, one reason, because we need to maintain bandwidth also, right? Network bandwidth also you need to maintain. Assume in one data center in India, Bangalore one is the primary and Chennai is the Pune is the one secondary data centers. You need to see network bandwidth. Otherwise, your performance will impact like anything. Don't keep a DR server too far. Got it right? What is a data center and what is high availability? And yesterday, earlier I have told you, right? Standby. When we are discussing high available log shipping, we'll discuss. I told you, right? We have standby means if you are maintaining multiple servers or too many servers also, and only one server will be online. When you going for perform read write operations means inserting the data and updating the data and deleting the data and selecting the data, only one will be online, and secondary will be either not accessible or it can be read only mode, but it cannot be online. If you are configure n number of also, only one will be online means where you are performing read write operations. So one will be standby mode. When you go for standby mode means we have different types of, and cold standby and warm standby and hot standby. There are no one will ask you, but just knowledge purpose I am highlighting. Okay. Again, I am telling this. This is for complete your knowledge purpose. No one will ask. Okay. Cold standby, and cold standby means complete. It is a manual process. You know, right? You need to take the backup. Last week we have shown you, right, how to take full backup, and how to take a differential backup, and how to take a transaction log backup and other backups also, right? If you are taking a backup and you are restoring in the some other instance, that is what cold standby means. It is completely manual process. You need to take the backup and copy it and restore in that is manual. And by using the restore and backup method, you can maintain the cold standby servers. And you are having, suppose I'm having one server, and here my SQL is running, and here also I'm maintaining it one more server here, and also the same instances running means same version is running and same edition is running. If I'm taking the backup and restoring it here, so that is cold standby means manual process. Whatever the changes you are performing here, that is not reflecting here because it is a manual, right? Just you are copying and pasting here, backupping and restoring, that is a cold standby manual process. So when you go for warm standby means, when you going for warm standby means automatically the changes will copy automatically. Whatever changes you are having, you have performing, those will be automatically moved to the server. You should not do anything. SQL will be take care of that automatically. Whatever the changes you have performing, suppose I have two servers, this is server A and this is server B. Whenever the changes you have performing on server A, automatically it will move to the server B. Okay. But why you are calling warm standby means it is a manual failover. It won't support automatic failover means in case if something happened to this server, you need to bring the this server to online. It is manual failover. See, manual failover means automatically B server cannot be up, cannot be online. B server will be standby. B server will stay back in the standby. Only warm standby only. Okay. You need to manually bring the server to online. No worries. We are going to configure all the practical. So warm standby. Suppose Suppose transaction log shipping and database mirroring with asynchronous mode. Don't get confused. We are already who already experience. They may get confused, sir. Warm standby server. Why you are telling database mirroring will support automatic failover, right? That is the reason. So when you configure synchronous mode and it will support automatic failover. But when you configure database mirroring asynchronous mode, it won't support. That is the reason I'm telling warm standby and transaction log shipping and database mirroring. There are the techniques fulfill your high availability and fulfill disaster recovery. Basically, we have four techniques. There are techniques to fulfill high availability and fulfill disaster recovery. We have four techniques and log shipping, database mirroring, and clustering, and always on. Don't include replication. Replication is a not high availability and disaster recovery. Replication is just a technique in a future in SQL Server where we have only four techniques to fulfill high availability and disaster recovery. Now, auto standby means it will support automatic failover. It's all support automatic failover means if something happened to this server and this server will came to online automatically. So when you go for automatic failover database mirroring and failover clustering and AISG always on availability group and always on availability group is also part of hard standby. By using always on availability group, using database mirroring, using failover cluster, you can maintain hard standby means if something happened to the server automatically, the server will come to online within the fraction of milliseconds. Again, I'm telling this is only for knowledge purpose and you should know about this terminologies. I had some more points I added here and high availability. High availability services. High availability means service availability, main service. Your services need to make sure that always need to run. Services are running. Your application will be run. If your services will be down, your application will also down, right? So to maintain services availability, both high availability and disaster recovery, high availability likely most likely support automatic failover. Okay, I'm not telling that high availability means automatic failover. Likely because database mirroring also having two modes. One is synchronous mode and one is asynchronous mode. And always on also having two modes, synchronous and asynchronous. And your which mode you are configuring. That is the reason I'm telling. High availability means must and should support the automatic failover. So manually failover disaster recovery is completely manual failover, not automatic failover. You need to do manual to failover. High availability means single data center and disaster recovery means 2+ location minimum to maximum. That is up to you. How many data centers you are maintaining? That is your company standards. Okay, but minimum two maximum that depends. But mostly they will be maintained two because price too high, not easy to maintain infrastructure. And what is intention means total intention means retaining the servers means in case something happen and I can bring immediately. That is the main intention of high availability and disaster recovery means retaining the data. If disaster recovery means retaining the data, something happened to my data center, I can bring my data to which is available in the DR server. So all this terminology you need to remember. That is very important. We have four techniques. You know the four techniques. Half of the SQL server is completed. Almost 70% SQL is completed. If you know this four concept, log shipping and mirroring and clusters always on. This and should must and should know about this four techniques. Now very important is the RPO and RTO. And let me ask one question. What is RTO? This is the keywords very important. Again, I'm telling. And most of the peoples, whenever who are attending interviews, they will ask what is RTO and what is RPO. Okay, this is also SQL only. Yes or no? It is a SQL server based based on your what are your configuring high availability and what techniques you're configuring high availability, that will differs from these two options and RPO and RTO. Very important techniques. Okay, RPO and RTO, recovery point objective and recovery time objective. These are two techniques. Okay, why this very important, sir? That is what we are going to discuss this one today. And before we can go to start high availability and disaster recovery and recovery point objective and recovery time objective. These two have most important parameters of disaster recovery or data protection plan. These are the best for high availability and disaster recovery and data protection plan. I can give you a simple and best example. Assume you know what about your backup, right? So why you are taking backups? Who told you to take backup? And one more, what is the schedule you need to follow, sir? What do we discuss about the backup scheduling? What is your backup strategy, right? I told you, right? Every Saturday I'm going to take one full backup, and every day I'm taking a differential backup, and every 1 hour I'm taking a transaction log backup. How you are configuring strategy? My project will follow this strategy, right? Other project will follow some other strategy. Other company will follow the other strategy. So based on that, your configure this backup schedule the RPO recovery point objective and how much data loss you are accepting, and what is the recovery point objective means how much you can recover the your data, that will come into the RPO recovery point objective. Assume my organization is accepting only 30 minutes data loss and my company is okay for 30 minutes. If something happen, no worries, and I can accept up to 30 minutes. In case if you are making more than 30 minutes and you need to pay penalty to the client, means your company has to be pay penalty to your client. Means assume you are working for Infosys or TCS or IBM, some other your client can be HSBC or Citibank or any life insurance or SBI. These are the banks, right? If you are making your data loss or more than 30 minutes, then how much your data loss, and that much they are going to pay penalty to your client. Be careful how much you are configuring backup strategy, means based on your RPO, how much data loss your organization will be accepting. Based on that, you need to configure backups. RPO is completely for the backup. So based on RPO, I can configure. If my company is telling 30 minutes data loss every week, I can take a full backup. Full backup, I'm not having any dependency. Full backup every week, right? Differential backup every day, but transaction log backup every 30 minutes I can configure. Transaction log backup. Okay, my organization accepting 30 minutes, I can configure a transaction log backup. My organization accepting 30 minutes data loss, right? Let me take 30 minutes every day, every 30 minutes. My company accepting 1 hour 1 hour data loss, every 1 hour I will configure transaction log backup, and every 9 a.m. I'm taking backup. So in between 10 a.m. my database corrupted. No worries. I'm having 1 hour data loss, except, right? No worries. If 9 a.m. backup is there, whatever after data loss, nothing. It is acceptable by client only, and this much I can accept the data loss. If your organization accepting for 2 hours data loss, let me configure every 2 hours transaction log backup. If your organization accepting 6 hours data loss, let me configure transaction log backup for every 6 hours. So getting how much data loss your organization accepting, based on that you can configure the backup, mainly transaction log backup and full backup and differential backup standard basic basis standard. You can go for a weekly and a daily basis, right? Transaction log backup is changing based on the RPO recovery point objective. How much data loss is compatible by your client? That is what here I describe recovery point objective to describe recovery point objective to describe a point in time that data can be restored from how much you can store, how much data you can bring. Something happen on my database will come to the RPO. RTO is the recovery time objective. Recovery time, very interesting. Again, I will discuss in the always on troubleshooting, sir. Then you can compare everything. For your simple understanding, first and last 3 points is there, right? Last 3 point, who are first time listening, definitely you may get confused. No worries. These 3 points again I will come up with always on again. I just added this point. Now what is RPO? Recovery time. Now RTO. Recovery time objective means how soon you can bring my services to online, and how soon you can bring my application to online, how soon you can bring my database to online, so how soon you can bring my server to online. That is what recovery time objective. Okay. Data loss is the something different. How much downtime your client is accepting. Downtime, downtime and data loss both are different, and downtime and data loss both are different, sir. And data loss is the RPO, and downtime is the RTO. Assume my services is down at 9 o'clock. How much time you are taking to bring my services to online? That is downtime. Because if your services stopped completely, your application will be stopped, right? Yes or no? Complete your application is down. How much time we are taking to bring your server, or your bring your database, or bring your SQL services? How much time you are taking? So how much time your client is accepting downtime? That is based on that you need to configure high availability and high availability. Mostly 80% production server will be high availability. Forgot about dev servers and test servers. Mostly we are concentrating on fraud servers. Production server, because those servers are live servers, right? And which is your application is pointing in production live data will be available in the production server, right? So how much time you are going to take to bring your server to online, the services to online, and database to online? That will be decide your RTO. Recovery point time objective means how much time, amount of the time which is the data hardware is decided to store. It will be decide your RTO. Recovery point objective means how much time is the amount of the time which the data hardware is decided to your restore of after data corruption or hardware failover time and data loss downtime. So both are slightly different. Based on this, we are going to configure high availability. RTO is nothing but high availability and disaster recovery, and RPO is nothing but your backup. RPO will differs the backup. RTO will differs the high availability and disaster recovery, and RTO will differs the high availability using high availability. You can fulfill your can satisfy. RTO means lock shipping. At least it may take 5 to 10 minutes failover. Mirroring will take a fraction of seconds, and always on also will take a fraction of seconds, and the cluster also take a fraction of seconds to failover. Minimal downtime there will be, but you are happy with the recovery point objective. For example, that is a main concept. Actually, RTO is nothing but how much time you are taking RPO. RPO is nothing but how much data loss you are accepting. Based on that, you will configure high availability and disaster recovery and backup. And there are two agreements your company, and when you are getting project, right, your company will sign. And RPO is the time taken to make the secondary replica as a primary. Not only failover, when you are initiate the failover, I know I can configure high availability, and I can configure always on which means automatic failover. When you are doing failover, sir, when you are doing failover, right, how much time your secondary is taking to come to primary to make secondary as a primary? You are converting, your role is swapping, you are switching from secondary to primary. How much time it is taking? That is the one more key point. Okay, I configure log shipping, and I can configure mirroring. I can configure clusters. I can configure always on. I am so good at RTO here. one interesting point, how much time your secondary is taking to swap the role from secondary to primary. That is also very important. If you are initiate failover at 9 a.m. but failover will successful after 10 a.m. It is acceptable. Suppose you have two servers. This is your primary server and this is secondary server, and you initiated failover. After 1 hour, your secondary become to primary and your primary become secondary. It is not acceptable, right? This is also it is RTO only. And one more point, the time taken to failover between node server to server. Entire servers you are going to failover now. How much time it is taking? That is also RTO. And when your failover is activated from one of the secondary databases, all other secondaries are automatically linked with new primary or not, and that is also RTO. Whoever is not working starting career, just ideal sir, and you will get to know on always on. I will come up with this concept in always on latency. Very interesting concept. We are going to spend around some hours. No worries. If you are maintaining multiple secondaries, assume I'm maintaining multiple secondaries. If I'm maintaining multiple secondaries and you initiated failovers, and this is node 1 means server, and this is server 2 and server 3, server 4, server 5 and server 6. Total you are maintaining 6 servers. So now initiated the failover from node 1 to node so now initiated to the failover from node 1 to node 2, or you initiated the failover from node 1 to node 3 and node 1 to node 4. And technically can node is nothing but server. I configured always on with 6 servers and only one instance only. Multiple 6 copies. You are maintaining for a safe side because it is very critical for you. That application is very critical because it contains sensitive data or employee data and employee usernames and passwords and your ID cards and everything in that application you are maintain that is very sensitive and critical data, right? And what you are doing, and you are maintaining 6 copies and you initiated the failover one node to another node. Now no 1 2 3 4 5 are remaining, right? How much time this all instances making, how much time this all instances are taking to sync up the new primary, that is RTO. Now today we are going to discuss first concept is log shipping. First technique, high availability and disaster recovery, but it is not high availability. It is best for disaster recovery. It is not high availability, but someone is asking, what are the queues we can have for high availability and disaster recovery. You can add log shipping as well, but it is best for DR techniques and disaster recovery techniques because log shipping won't support automatic failover. You need to do manual failover if you want to do the failover. So if you understand one concept, all the concept means mirroring and clusters always on. There are slightly minor changes only, but it is very easily understandable. What is log shipping? Log shipping is the database level and SQL server. Log shipping is the base level of SQL server, high availability and disaster recovery technology or a topology or something you can call as something you can call. Log shipping is a base level high availability and disaster recovery, which is a part of SQL. It is just one technique to fulfill your RTO recovery time objective, means to reduce the time of your downtime, to reduce the downtime. Actually simple logic only, not much more complex. It is very simple. You are having one database and database size is 2 terabytes. Suddenly database is crash. How much time you are going to take? How much time to take bring your database to online? That is the real concept actually. From there Microsoft started with let's make very less downtime with log shipping and with mirroring and with the clusters and with always on will be accept this concept. Log shipping is the base level, sir. Log shipping and mirroring, when I'm going to do means next to three sessions, I'm comparing log shipping and mirroring. If you are storing that database mirroring, you are almost if you are strong at database mirroring, you are almost stronger always on as well. If you are strong that log shipping means you are almost strong at database mirroring as well. There is the same similar, both are same flavor only. Your log shipping and your mirroring and your always on and your clusters are the same only, but it is slight changes. Log shipping is the base level of SQL server, high availability and disaster recovery technology. That is a part of SQL server. So database can work together to another secondary servers to take over the quickly if primary phase. That is the real concept, and database servers are working together the secondary servers. If something happened to the primary server, secondary server will take responsibility very quickly. That is what I'm going to show you tomorrow. Log shipping, there is a one advantage, that is allows secondary to readable means secondary instance you can read, you can perform read operations, you can balance the load. All the writes operation you can perform on the primary, all the read operations you can perform on the secondary. You can also balance the load, you can also balance the load. Two techniques, one is I told you, right? Take your primary and secondary are working together. In case something happened to your primary or secondary, in case something happened to your primary and secondary is come to online very quickly, that is the main. And one more is balance the load. Microsoft is also thinking that let's read the secondary, make the read the secondary, you can balance the load. Very simple definition, log shipping. And you know about transaction log backup, right? What is log shipping is doing, right? Log shipping is doing to take log shipping is going to take the transaction log backups and copy the different server and restore it. And you are doing a manual backup, right? But when you configure log shipping, how log shipping is working is, and log shippings will work through log backups. Log shipping is the, that is the name only itself, it is telling clearly. Log shipping is the, log shipping means shipping the transaction logs. Whenever you are configuring log shipping take the log backup and copy to the secondary, and it will restore automatically. Automatically this perform change and automatically take in the backups and automatically copy to the different server and automatically restoring it. For someone is asking what is log shipping, and log shipping transaction log from one server to and secondary servers automatically that restoring to secondary data secondary server. That is the simplest answer when you configuring log shipping, and that is what happening, sir. When you start with working with log shipping, you need to know about couple of components, primary and secondary, and one more server will be also available, that is mirror server. These three servers very important, and these components are important. Your naming conversions are also very important. When you go for mirroring, when you configure, you should call it as a principal and a mirror. When you discuss clusters, and you can call active and passive. And when you go for always on, you can call primary replica and secondary replica, like that. In log shipping you can call primary server and secondary server. And a primary means where your application is performing and read write operations, and where log shipping is starting, that is the production box. Primary is nothing but whenever log shipping will start, and also you need to take your and whenever performing both read write operations, and it is also live server and current live server. Secondary means warm servers, just standby server. Says so just stand server means in case if something happened to your primary, then your secondary will come to online. Just ideal server. Secondary is nothing but ideal server. You can call different terminology. Everyone tell the different definitions. It is warm server and warm standby server and reporting server. It's like log shipping ending server. And when you are log shipping ending names, primary means it is a production server, secondary means it is standby. Just for your understanding, it's standby where your data is maintaining, and one or more copies same data only. In case if something happened to primary, you can bring your secondary to online immediately. You can bring online, okay. And monitor server, In monitor server, in log shipping, we never use monitor server. We never configure monitor server. It is wastage of one instance. There is a monitor server, but from real world and point of view, no one will configure the monitor server because it will. I will show you practically why means. So if you want to do configure log shipping on your laptop, you must and should know you must and should require two instances. One will act as a primary and one is acting as a secondary. Means whoever install only one instance and we can install one more instance as well, because we are going to configure mirroring, right? And you require three instance to make automatic failovers. Now see, when you log shipping will support standby mode and enterprise mode and word group mode, and also it will support evolution edition. If you decide to configure log shipping, make sure that your SQL server should be 2000 onwards. Before 2005, there is no concept called log shipping, and there is no concept called mirroring, and there is no called always on. And always on introduced from SQL server 2012 onwards. So if you decide to configure log shipping, so that your SQL server version should be 2005 and edition and standard and enterprise and evolution and word group edition, any edition, not in express edition. Expression edition you cannot configure log shipping, and express edition does not support log shipping. Should be standard edition and enterprise edition, mostly evolution edition. Only these editions it is compatible. These editions will support log shipping. And as for best practices, I'm telling maintain the same hardware and maintain the same software and maintain the same versions and same editions. Maintain everything similar when you go for high availability techniques. That is the first thing for all the techniques, log shipping and clusters and mirroring and always on. Maintain the same hardware and software and the same version and the same edition and the same disk and the same RAM and the same CPU. Everything should be identical. Everything should be similar. Same exact copy and paste, like you need to make your hardware and software similar. If you are seeing any difference before start configuration, make sure must and should that should be upgraded primary or maintaining 250 GB of RAM. In secondary also you should maintain 250 GB of RAM, because if something happened to your primary server and your connections will be moved to the secondary, right? And at that time you should not affect your performance. So maintain the same hardware and same software, same database and same version and same disk partitions and same type of disk, all should be similar. That is the one of the best practices you need to follow. So what are the prerequisites means, if you decide to configure log shipping, what are the prerequisites or the major prerequisites should be your SQL server should be greater than 2005. It support enterprise and standard evaluation and workbook editions. It will support. You should maintain the same hardware and same software as part of the server, as part of SQL server as well. And one more thing, these three are the major things. What is the next means, your database, and either your database should be and full recovery model or bulk log recovery model. And log shipping will support bulk log recovery model and always on and mirroring and other high availability will support bulk log bulk log recovery model only. Log shipping will support bulk log recovery model. If someone is asking, definitely they may ask you one question: what difference between mirroring and log shipping? And log shipping will support full and bulk log mirroring. Log shipping will support full and bulk log, and mirroring does not support the bulk log recovery model. It will support only full recovery model. Simple recovery model for all high availability will support full recovery model. But log shipping will also support bulk log recovery model. You can configure log shipping in bulk log recovery model. And next, you must and should create two folders to configure log shipping. You must and should create two folders, and one is the backup folder and one is copy folder. You can maintain one more folder as well, and or single folder you can. But as for Microsoft recommending part of, you can configure, and you need to two folders. One is a backup folder, and another one is a copy folder. And the backup folder will be available in the primary server, and the copy folder will be available in the secondary server. You require two folders. Out of the two folders, one folder must and should be network folder. So tomorrow I'm going to show you practically. You'll get a better idea. And today I'm going to discuss only theoretical part, and next session completely into the practical, and he will understand easily. And you require two folders. One is backup folder, and one is will be copy folder. Always backup folder should be network folder, and always your backup folder should be network drive. Okay, so assume this is my primary instance. I'm having a HSBC database, and this is my secondary instance. Okay. See, my primary server, I'm going to backup folder. In the secondary server, I'm going to create a copy folder. Means whenever backup we were taking on primary, automatically it will move to the secondary. Automatically, it will move to the secondary. That is what, if you want to configure log shipping, and the minimum two folders is required, and the minimum two folders, not minimum, it require folder, minimum one folder, but generic term two folders. One is backup folder and one is copy folder. Always backup folder must and should network folder, because secondary server should access this folder, right, folder to copy the backup file, right. So that is what we're making it as a network folder, that we will get it note next session. And what is the major and how to configure log shipping, that is what we are going to show you. And one more thing, your SQL server agent must and should be configured properly, but SQL server agent must and should configure properly means, and your agent must and should run with service account, and it cannot support the local accounts. Make sure that your SQL services need to run with service account in a real world. Anyhow, we are running with service accounts only. Service account only. I'm adding I'm adding, make sure that you should SQL server should run with the best configuration, means service account configuration. Minimum two instances and two databases and two folders. One is share folder for backup, and a copy folder, and a secondary service of, you need to have full control permissions. You need a full control. So I'm passing the information, and next session actually configuration of log shipping should be, and I will make one point in the notepad. Theoretical very important. Actually, log shipping it will take 5 minutes only. Just it will take 5 minutes, and a very simple technique. Not even all log shipping, not even like log shipping. Mirroring always on is also take only 5 minutes, and only you should more stronger on the theoretical part as well. These are the only four techniques available in the SQL server. And one more technique, replication. If you know the five techniques, SQL is completed, and migration is nothing but your backup and restore only. So if you become stronger in this concept, you are almost strong in SQL. And the primary and secondary should be same. It can be greater keep primary in 2005, and we can keep secondary to 2008. We can keep, right, yes or no? You can do it. Failback is not possible, and failover is possible, and failback is not possible. Majorly 3 points are very important in log shipping. What are the 3 point means? Make sure that your database should be either full and bulk log recovery model. That is the first point. And the second point, always your primary will be online. In the secondary will be two modes, and the log shipping will support two modes. One is restoring mode, and one is standby mode. And what is restoring and what is standby mode means, and secondary database can be in restoring mode, or secondary database can be standby mode. It will it will support two modes, your log shipping, but mirroring will support only restoring mode. Mirroring won't support standby mode. Always on won't support standby mode. Always on won't support standby mode, and always on will support restoring mode. Okay, make sure that is the major thing you need to remember. Lock shipping will support standby mode and restoring mode, and it support restoring mode and standby mode. That is what main thing you need to make it note. And restoring means no one access the database. You already know, right? And whenever your database in restoring mode, I told you, right? No one can access, but you can keep database into standby mode. They can accept, they can read the data, and they can access the data. Means in your whenever you configuring lock shipping, and you can configure lock shipping in standby mode, means you can read the data and we can balance the load. But again, one more point, it is not that much best to load balancer when you compare with always on availability group. When you compare reading the data, yeah, when you configure always availability group, whenever you are reading the data, and when you are restoring the data, and your reading will be disconnecting. So it is not a best technique to all the, but in 2005 it is the best technique, and nowadays it is not the best technique, even even for read operations as well. Then why still means log shipping is the best for DR purpose, because you are maintaining n number of secondary, right? That is what very important, and you can maintain n number of secondary servers, one primary and n number of secondaries you can maintain. That is one major advantage with the lock shipping. But when you go for mirroring only 1 to 1, when you go for always on 1 to 4 and 1 to 8 and 1 to 4 and SQL Server 2012 and 1 to 8 into 2014 onwards. So maximum you can maintain 9 servers in always on maximum. You can maintain on servers in mirroring. You can maintain one server in mirroring and one server log shipping and 1 to n, and you can maintain n number of secondary in log shipping. That is the one major advantage of log shipping. How many copies you are maintaining, that's what main our intention. What are the minimum requirements? Minimum 2 instances and the minimum 2 databases, because log shipping is a base level and database level you require minimum 2 instances and minimum 2 databases, and also minimum 2 folders, and one is a backup folder, and one is a share folder. One is backup folder and one is copy folder. That is the minimum things. And maintain same hardware and software, and maintain same hardware and same software, and database name and collection and means language. Your database should be full and bulk log recovery model, and secondary should be restoring or standby mode. Always secondary should be restoring mode or standby mode. And next, and you need to take full backup, and take full backup and T-log backup on primary manually, and you need to take a full backup and log backup manually. You need to copy to the secondary, and you need to perform initial synchronization. And the mirroring also same thing for always on, also same thing till 2016 log shipping mirroring, and for always on till 2016. Later Microsoft came up with one more concept, but this is the minimum requirement for mirroring also same concept. You need to take the full backup and log backup on the primary and restore all the secondary for initial synchronization. This is the point you need to add manually. And this is the point you need to add manually. You need to take full backup, and don't take copy only backup when you are when you are configuring high availability, and you need to take regular backup. Don't forget about LSN chain. All this you need to take log backup, and you need to take full backup, and you need to copy and copy secondary. You need to restore manually. Later you can configure lock shipping, mirroring, and always on whatever. This is the main one of the main concept here. This is the minimum requirement if you want to configure what is log shipping. Transaction log backup for primary to n number of secondary server. How log shipping will work? How log shipping will work means log shipping will work to the jobs. What are the jobs? Backup job and copy job and alert job and restore job. These are the three backups will be created when you configure log shipping. Three jobs will be created. What are the three jobs are majorly? Alert job is the monitor server. What monitor service is doing? Alert job. Alert job will also doing this doing. We never configure a monitor server. We'll configure a alert job. Mainly three jobs: backup job and copy job and restore job, and one more job is alert job. Okay, when you have configure log shipping, how is working means log shipping is completely working through jobs. And what is the backup job? Backup job will be created on the primary server, which will take log backup into the network folder. So backup job will be created in the primary server, and which will be take the log backup into the network folder, and backup will take the transaction log backup, and it will keep in the network folder. That is it. So it is taking the backup and it is keeping the network folder. Next, copy job, and copy job will be created in the all the secondary servers. Why I mention all means we are not sure, right, how many secondaries you are going to configure. Every secondary server copy job will be created. So that is the reason I mentioned the copy job will be created in all secondary servers. Okay, exactly copy job will do with all the copy the transaction log backups from backup folder to copy folder. Whenever the backup job runs, it will directly connect to the backup folder, and it will copy the transaction log backup which is taken by the backup job to the secondary server, which will copy the transactions of the primary backup folder to copy folder. Apart from nothing will do the backup job. Apart from nothing is will do. It is copying automatically, and you should not copy anything. Automatically copy job will copy the backup folder, which is taken by the backup job to secondary server. So now restore job, and restore job is also same, and restore job will be created in all these secondary servers, which will restore one by one transaction log backup on the database. What is the main purpose which will restore one by one transaction log backups on the database? If you configure multiple backup jobs is created on the primary server, and the copy job and restore job will be created on primary server. What is the purpose of backup job? It is the take. It is to take the transaction of backup and keep in the backup folder. And what is the purpose of copy job? It is copy primary the backup folder to copy folder. What is the restore job? And the restore job to restore the transaction log backup one by one. That is the main reason backup job and copy job and restore job. And what is the alert job? Alert job will be created primary and secondary. Okay, alert job will be created and both primary and secondary, and backup job will be restore backup job and copy job and restore job. Backup job and copy job and restore job it will configure on primary and secondary. And restore job, if any job files will give alert. That is it, your log shipping, that theoretical part. And tomorrow I can come up with practical, and how to configure the jobs, and what is the backup job, and how to configure copy job and alert job, and how to create that network path, and how to initialize the initial synchronization. How will move the all the transaction log backup from backup folder to copy folder and restore folder. We'll see you next session. Thank you for watching, everyone. That is it for today's session. Thanks for everyone.